He built a $70 billion empire that changed how the entire world moved. Then his own employees and board forced him out of his own beloved company. This is the explosive true story of Travis Kalanick, the founder of Uber. He was born in August 1976 in Los Angeles to working parents. His father was a civil engineer, and his mother sold advertising for a newspaper. From very early childhood, he was extremely competitive about absolutely everything in his life. He played football, basketball, and was the kid who always had to win. At only 18 years old, he started selling kitchen knives door to door. He sold over $20,000 worth of knives in just one single summer. He learned that hustle, charm, and pure aggression could move incredible amounts of product. He went on to study computer engineering at UCLA in Los Angeles, California. There, he became obsessed with the early internet and the wild dot-com boom. In 1998, he dropped out to start his own ambitious internet company. The company was called Scour, a peer-to-peer search engine for music files. Months later, Scour was sued by Hollywood studios for $250 billion. The total damages claim was bigger than the entire global music industry that year. He was 23 and personally being sued for $250 billion. Scour quickly went bankrupt. He was completely broke and forced to move home again. Most people would have quit forever, but Travis got hungrier and angrier than before. He started a new company called Red Swoosh just months after his Scour disaster. Red Swoosh used the same peer-to-peer technology, but sold it to corporations. For 7 brutal years, he barely paid himself anything and lived on credit cards. His co-founder quit. Investors backed out. Tax authorities even came after him hard. He once owed the IRS over $110,000 in unpaid taxes. In 2007, Akamai finally bought Red Swoosh for $19 million. Travis personally walked away from that brutal experience with about $3 million cash. He was 30 and finally had real money for the very first time ever. He moved into a San Francisco mansion known as the legendary Jam Pad House. He hosted endless tech parties where ambitious founders pitched wild new ideas every night. One snowy night in Paris, he tried for an hour to find any taxi. He stood there freezing in the cold with his friend, the entrepreneur Garrett Camp. They started joking about a magical app to summon a black car instantly. Garrett built the first version. Travis joined a few months later as co-founder. UberCab launched quietly in San Francisco in May of 2010. Within weeks, the city sent them an aggressive cease and desist legal letter. Travis dropped the word cab from the name and said, "Go faster anyway." Uber spread to New York, then Chicago, then Paris, then to 30 more cities. Travis adopted a brutal philosophy he openly called principled confrontation in every situation. When a city banned Uber, he simply launched there illegally and fought lawsuits later. He built a secret internal tool called Greyball to evade police sting operations entirely. He authorized aggressive opposition research against journalists who wrote critical stories about Uber. He battled the powerful taxi unions in every major city across the entire planet. By 2014, Uber was operating in 200 cities across 50 countries. Investors poured billions into the company at insane valuations no one had seen before. By 2015, Uber was valued at over $50 billion private dollars. Travis became a billionaire many times over before he had even turned 40. But inside the company, a dark and toxic culture was quietly forming under him. Travis had openly nicknamed the company Boober for his easy access to female attention. The internal motto became "always be hustling, no matter what rules got broken." Sexual harassment complaints to human resources were repeatedly ignored or quietly dismissed by leadership. Then, in February 2017, everything finally exploded into the public eye at once. Engineer Susan Fowler published a viral blog post titled "One Strange Year at Uber." She detailed harassment, retaliation, and a culture that protected high-performing male managers. The blog post was read by millions of people in just under 1 week. Days later, a dashcam video leaked of Travis berating one of his Uber drivers. He yelled at the driver who said Uber pricing had bankrupted him completely. The video went viral immediately. The hashtag #DeleteUber trended on every platform. Hundreds of thousands of people deleted the Uber app from their phones in protest. The board hired former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder to investigate the company culture. The Holder report was devastating. It recommended sweeping changes at every leadership level inside. In May of 2017, his beloved mother died in a tragic boating accident. Travis was emotionally destroyed and took a personal leave of absence from the company. While he was grieving, the board met secretly to discuss removing him as CEO. In June 2017, 5 major investors handed him a letter demanding his resignation. They cornered him in a Chicago hotel and gave him hours to decide. Travis Kalanick resigned as CEO of the very company he had built from nothing. He was 40 years old and had just lost his mother and his empire. In May 2019, Uber went public, valued at almost $70 billion total. Travis was not invited on stage that day at the New York Stock Exchange. He quietly cashed out and moved on to build a new ghost kitchen empire.